Hello and welcome to this tutorial video. In this video, I'd like to show to you how you can set up FeatureCloud so that you can develop your own federated AIs. And we will also see how you can use the example app that we provide as a starting point for your own applications. And after having seen this video, you should be able to set up FeatureCloud and have everything prepared to start developing your own AI. So the first thing you need to do is create a user account and log in. I already did this, as you can see. And the next thing is that you need to enable developer mode. So you go to Edit Profile, scroll down and hit Enable Developer Mode. After that, you should see this section, the development section, and two subpages, testing and controller. So the controller icon is red here, which means that it cannot connect to the local controller right now, which is clear because we did not download or start it yet. So the next thing you need to do is download the FeatureCloud controller from the download page, which you can find here. And depending on your operating system, you need to choose one of these binaries. So in this video, we're going to use the Linux version. And you also need Docker. So Docker is a virtualization solution that FeatureCloud uses to execute these AIs. You can get Docker freely from docker.com, and it needs to be running together with the FeatureCloud controller in order to continue. So I already downloaded the FeatureCloud controller. So let's see how you continue from there. So this is the file that you can find on the site we've just seen. Next, you need to decompress this archive like so. So now you find the FeatureCloud binary and a config file here. And now we can just start the controller like this. And if you go to the controller page now, the red icon should disappear and it should be, turn blue, and it should say status online here, like you can see. Okay, so now FeatureCloud is running, Docker is running. Next thing, you need to clone the example AI, or rather the code for the example AI, which you can find on our GitHub page. So you could just go to our FeatureCloud GitHub and go to the mean template. We just clone it. So we open a fresh terminal window and FeatureCloud folder, and we clone it here. Next, we enter this folder, and here you now find all the files that you can basically change and put your custom logic into. In this video, we will just run this sample app, and at the end, we will have a brief look at the code and where you would put your own logic. But to verify that we're prepared to continue with development, we will just run this app unchanged. So always when you want to test your application, you need to build a Docker image. And to do that, you just type docker build. Then you can choose a tag, for example, fc_mean_sample. And you need to also specify the folder where the Docker file resides. So since we're inside the mean template directory, we would just use a dot here. So now Docker is building the image and it's already done. So we can use this image now and hand it over to the FeatureCloud system in order to test this app. So we go back to the FeatureCloud front end, and this time we go to the testing page. So we hit testing, and for each test run, you need to enter a few parameters, a few details, so that FeatureCloud now knows what to run and in what way. So first you need to enter the Docker image. So this is just fc_mean sample, as we just saw. And for this test run, we choose 2 clients. And on the repository for this mean template, you find some information what kind of data this app needs to run. And since it's a very simple and very basic app, we just need a file containing a few numbers separated by comma. So we need to just create 2 sample files now. So we go to our FeatureCloud folder again, create subdirectory data, and 2 subdirectories for each client. And now we just create a test file here. It needs to end with a .txt or .csv. Also described here, right? And we just use 3 numbers here, so 1, 2, 3. And for the other client, we just choose 4, 5, 6, for example. And now we just take this path and enter it here for clients 2 and 1. And what FeatureCloud will do is it will take the contents of these directories and make it available to these 2 instances of this app image. So when we hit start, FeatureCloud now creates 2 containers, one for each test client. And each of these test clients will have a different set of data, the 2 files we just created. And here in the FeatureCloud front end, you can monitor the progress. So what you're seeing now is the logs of the 2 app instances. And you also have a link to the app front ends. So each app can have its own front end in case you want to provide additional plots or logs for the user to monitor, or in case you need user interaction. So in some cases you might want to have user interaction, so you can also implement your own front end and interact with a running app instance that way. But for mean, this is not necessary because it will just take the contents of the files and calculate the global mean. And as you can see, it already managed to do so. And now it will just send the global mean to all the participants back. And after that, we should have the results available. What this testing framework does is it takes the contents of the output directory. So each of these apps also has an internal output directory. The contents of these output directories will just be zipped by FeatureCloud and offered as download afterwards. So after a while, FeatureCloud should offer you the results as a download. So here you can also monitor the traffic that's sent around. And as you can see, it already distributed the results back to the clients now, and we can download the results. So if you just hit the results button here, it will download a zip folder containing the results. And as we can see, it successfully calculated the global mean of 3.5. Okay, so now you know how to set up a dev environment, how to test an app, how to build your app before. And now let's finally look at the code briefly so that you know where you can put your custom logic. So let's just look at the Git repository again, and you can ignore almost all of what you're seeing right now. You just need to go into the fc_app folder, and the most important file files here are the mean file, which contains implementations of some functions, and these functions are called by the api.py file. So let's have a look at these two files. So let me enlarge it a little. Okay, so here you have methods defined for the different endpoints that FeatureCloud is querying, because your web app, your AIs basically need to act like a web server, and you need to implement certain endpoints. There is documentation for this API, so you can also and should also have a look at this, but here you have a sample implementation, right, how this could look. So the status call needs to return availability of data. So that's what you can see here at the very end. So here, right, here that's the data endpoint where you're supposed to hand over data, or to take the data that is sent to your AI instance by FeatureCloud. So depending on the HTTP method, you either need to return data or you will get data. This of course also depends on the role you have. So for example, the coordinator instance will most times it will receive data from all the clients, and it will then only need to return one global model. And the participants, on the other hand, they mostly will post data back to the client and will receive the global model, also depending on whether you need to have multiple iterations or not. But again, this is all specified in the API documentation, so you should definitely have a look at this. Okay, so that's basically it. Of course, there will follow more videos, but this should get you started developing your first AIs. If you have questions, of course, don't hesitate to contact us. Thanks for watching, and have fun developing your own AI.